Hail, Sir Phil Cola, and well met. I'm going to jump into a cart and then have some dialogue in this cart.
That's my
Because
favorite thing to do in Dragon Age.
this is how I play Dragon Age. This is how I have defined my character. He stands in carts for every time he has a conversation because I need the higher ground.
Let me give you a pro tip for the future when you're playing. Try jumping and getting into a conversation while you're still in the air.
Oh boy, I must try that out. Only problem is I cannot get out of this cart now because the jump button is the same as the talk button. My only problem so far with Dragon Age Inquisition, which I've played about 4 hours of, and you, I imagine, have played about 300 hours of because you're doing the review for Polygon.com.
The review will be up by the time this video is up, and we'll mention in the review, and I will mention here as well. I played 80 damn hours of this game.
Holy shit! That's a lot of hours. Even
That's
for
that's how long it took me to finish playing the story. Like,
did you
rushing through for review.
Did you go like cray with the extra missions and side quests and collecties?
There are whole zones, Griffin, that I have only set foot in once or twice.
I mean, how do you feel qualified to write the review then if you haven't even? So Dragon Age Inquisition, like I said, this is about 3, maybe 4 hours in. I am playing as a mage, as you can see.
Yeah, you've got a nice lightning staff.
There's a rift that I was going to try and get at, but then I got attacked by a lizard Slenderman here, and just got real beat up.
So rifts are kind of the thing in this game.
Yeah, it's. I guess let's talk first about like broad strokes, like what the game is, and obviously you would know better than I would, but to me it sort of feels like this really happy medium between the systems of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 : the bad one.
Yeah.
In that you at any time in combat you can switch between characters and fly between them at will, like that. You can play in action mode, which I would say feels a lot more like Dragon Age 2, or you can back out to this stand still, like almost like
old school RPG thing,
like spectator strategy mode. That's actually really slick. While you're there, you can issue commands to everybody, or just certain characters if you want, and then you hold in the right trigger to progress through time and sort of scan through it like I don't know, like some sort of VCR.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I think is really cool about having these two modes is that both work really well. Both feel natural. Like neither of them feels like the other was forced on.
Yeah.
And I would actually say, like, depending on how you want to play the game, you can go with either. If you really just want to do action mode, you can like switch over to the casual difficulty and just do that. Or even on normal, you can mostly just do action mode. But then if you want to play on the higher difficulties, if you want to play on like hard or nightmare, you're gonna have to use that more tactical, slowed down mode.
Yeah. Let's talk about the progression systems, because this is something I wanted to ask you about. I like playing as a mage in these games and really most RPGs. But it doesn't seem like the trees. You have 4 different skill sets for if you want to play as like a fighter or a more thief-like character or a mage. And it doesn't seem like those trees really expand out as much as they did in like, say, Dragon Age Origins, which gave you like access to all these crazy magic pools like necromancy, and you could be like a mage knight with like summoned magic armor. I thought that was really cool, and I'm worried that it's like missing a little here.
So it seems like it's missing. What actually happens is 30 hours or so into the game, each character, so like as you said, there's three classes. There's mage, rogue, and warrior. There's only 4 trees for each of those classes. But as you progress into the game, each of your party members is going to get their own unique tree, a 5th tree.
Interesting.
And then your main character is going to have a choice between 3 different unique trees depending on the class you chose. So I played as a warrior, for example, and the unique tree that I took was Templar. So that essentially gave me all these skills that a Templar would have in the world of Dragon Age. So I could essentially like stop magic from happening. I could silence enemies. I could dispel any of the magic they put onto us.
Oh, cool.
I had some minor sort of healing type abilities as well. So yeah, that's sort of where you're able to add a little more depth and decide what your character wants, what focus you want your character to have. The only issue is that you can only choose one of those 3. But it's still, it provides a really cool extra bit of depth.
What do you think of like the complexity of the actual like combat? Because like I said earlier, this is pretty early on in the game, and already you sort of have to fall into the pattern of getting Cassandra, your big shielded tank, in the front lines, taunting people. Have your healer, sort of stay back and make sure that everybody has barriers around them at all times.
So that's an interesting thing you mentioned. There is no healing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They changed that. So instead of traditional healing, you now cast barriers. And if you're a tank like Cassandra, you have certain abilities that can give yourself armor.
It's an interesting idea because then you don't have anybody. I know I said that just a minute ago, but you really don't have anybody relegated to just. Well, you are the healer. You are the white mage, and you have to keep everybody alive. The approach to damage is more prevention based. Like you want to make sure everybody has a barrier on them if they're about to take hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you talk about the potion system? Because I think that's one of the coolest, smartest thing. Like, a quick sidebar, I guess. I love Mass Effect 3's system of progression in that you upgrade equipment and then everybody can use it. It's more, it sort of takes the idea of progression outside of the typical like experience point, level up, find loot loop, and makes it like this almost team-based progression. And I really like what they've done with the potion system because it reminds me a lot of some of the smarter things that they did in the later Mass Effect games.
Yeah, it's almost a little Dark Souls-esque as well.
Yeah.
To a very small degree, in the sense that you have a certain number of health potions. I believe you start off with 8, is it? And that's shared amongst your party, so anybody can use those. Once those are all gone, they're gone. And then each party member also has at least one slot for extra potions that you can put, like a regeneration potion or a strength tonic or whatever you want to put in there.
Or a grenade. Or
a grenade.
Yeah.
You can also put grenades. That's very true. And then, through the game's crafting system, which it has a very complex crafting system, you can collect herbs, and you can use those to just make potions, or you can use those to upgrade the strength of potions. So you can take your regular healing potion and make it a whole lot stronger.
Or you can, add time to your regeneration potion effect or bolster like the strength of tonics. I think it's just like, I don't know, man. I love that idea of instead of like finding or making a single like thing that only one of your characters gets to use, having it be like a thing that your party shares. It's just so much. It takes so much of like the inventory clutter and so much of like the micromanagement out of the equation while not like getting rid of the strategy and the sense of progression that those things have.
They do it some cool ways too, like where you're in long missions, you'll at certain points throughout the mission hit points where you get to refresh your potions.
Right.
So it's very smart that way.
There's also that idea for your Inquisition, which is sort of your reminiscent of the war effort from, what was that, Mass Effect 3, I guess, in that you increase the strength of your Inquisition by actually, like, filling requisition orders, which might be, like, go out into the world and find 10 iron and 6 onyx here, and then we're going to use that to make swords for our army. And then your army gets stronger. So, like, that idea of a progression system outside of the typical loop is sort of everywhere in this game.
Yeah, and there's a certain point at which you'll actually be able to build like a bigger courtyard for your Inquisition, and you'll actually need to find like lumber mills and quarries that you can claim so that you can build this bigger, nicer courtyard, and then that's going to actually physically change the setting of where your Inquisition is and make it look nicer.
Can you talk a little bit about the Inquisition mechanics? Because I've only recently sort of discovered that part of the game, and it is a vast meta game that I still don't think I understand completely.
Yeah, so there's something essentially called the war table. You have 3 advisors. You have a spy master, a head of your military, and then somebody who does your diplomatic stuff, your ambassador, I guess you would say. And you can go to this war table, and there will be different missions, and you get to choose who you want to send on these missions. The missions are always going to be timed, and it's kind of like the best choice for that mission is going to be able to do it faster than everyone else. So it might take your spy master 50 minutes, but it might take your military leader only 30 if it's a mission that's better for your military leader. And then when that time is up, and they're ready to report in, you get an explanation of what happened, and you get you get a reward, which is usually gold or items or sometimes whole new areas of the game open up.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is that you can. I just built some power for my army, right? Because I filled a requisition order, got some swords made for my army. Using that power, I can spend it to unlock a new mission on the map.
Yeah, you can unlock whole new areas, or and these are like big open world areas where you can then go questing, or you can also you'll also need to build up your power and use that to actually unlock the story missions. So that's kind of how they gate you from just blowing through the story really quickly. Is like, okay, you can do this next story mission whenever you want, as long as you have 40 power.
It's really interesting. You mentioned open worlds, like, and I feel like there's been a lot of hubbub about how reminiscent this is of Skyrim and some of the lessons that they've taken from Skyrim. But boy, they really have. Like, it is unrecognizable, I feel like, from the structure of the first Dragon Age games.
Yeah. I think in particular at early on it feels that way. I think the deeper you get, as you get more and more interaction with your party members, as your party grows, and you're going to be doing more and more quests that are like side quests to help out this specific party member, it begins to feel a little bit more like Dragon Age and a little bit less like Dragon Age as seen through the lens of Skyrim.
Sure.
But it's definitely, yeah, like you can tell that the open world stuff has taken some very serious lessons from Skyrim. Even just the fact that you can jump in this game is pretty huge.
Actually, the end of this video actually shows me Skyrimming up the face of a mountain, which is so enjoyable. Can you talk a little bit about the story of the game? Because I feel like that's another area that I haven't really seen fully develop. Obviously, you have these
Here's that war table.
Here's the war table. Obviously, you have these big green portals, and it's like you have to shut those down, and that's about as much story as I have right now.
Yeah, so you're playing as this person, the Inquisitor, as you come to be known. Essentially, you were at a big meeting of mages and the Chantry, which is the religious organization in the world of Dragon Age. The mages have been rebelling since the events of Dragon Age 2. You go to this meeting, the sky explodes, everybody dies except for you. And then the main mission of the game becomes figuring out why did you survive, and why is there a big hole in the sky that demons are pouring out of?
Did you enjoy the story of the game? Because what worries me is that it sort of just throws you into the middle of it, and the plot line so far, a few hours in, is pretty single-faceted, whereas in Dragon Age Origins, it was, I feel like, a much deeper tale that unraveled a lot slower. Like, you found party members much slower than this, where you will have a full party of 4 in, like, 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you don't have your actual full party of everybody.
No, sure.
Later. So it's I think they did that on purpose. I think they wanted to get you into the action really quickly. But they definitely take some time and pull things back a little bit. And I mean, I don't want to spoil anything per se, but like as an example, I think they learned a lesson from Dragon Age 2 in the sense that one of the problems with Dragon Age 2 is it didn't have a villain.
Yeah.
And that made it really hard for people to care.
Well, I had a bunch of shitty villains.
It had a bunch of smaller villains that no one cared about. They introduce a main villain in this eventually, and it's like they really focus on that villain and make you care about that villain, and make you care about taking down that villain. So yeah, I think as it goes, the story gets better, and it's actually really, really good.
Yeah, just look at me go here. I'm like a mountain goat. So there's not much video left. Can you sort of give me like a overview of sort of what you thought of the game, what it meant? Like I've been really enjoying it, and it makes me excited for BioWare. First of all, just to like see them doing anything, because I feel like they've been pretty radio silent for quite some time.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best and deepest BioWare games they've made in years. And I think more than anything, it really helps set apart Dragon Age, as it helps build up the world, because you see so much of it in this game.
Yeah.
Instead of just one location like in the previous two, you see a lot of the world here, and it really helps finalize the Dragon Age universe as something that I think is going to stick around, and that I think there's a lot more they can do with. It left me after 80 hours, it left me excited to play more and see where they're going to take it. So that's a pretty high praise, I feel like.
It is, but I mean, you're a madman. Anyway, thanks for what you are. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back with more videos as this crazy week of a billion video game releases continues. Stay tuned. Bye.